Hello everyone and welcome to the Let Me Tell You Myprotein live event. I'm Claire Sanderson and I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Women's Health and I will be your host today. With it being Mental Health Month this October, we're here to have an open and honest conversation around mental health, and I'm going to speak to some of our very own Myprotein athletes about the challenges they have faced. Before I get to the athletes, I'm going to explain to you how today is going to work. I'm going to pose a series of questions to the members here today, and they will step forward and answer them individually before stepping back. So I'm going to get them to introduce themselves to you from left to right. Over to you.
Hi, I'm Joe Fazer. I'm a YouTuber and just like a guy who works out pretty much.
Hi, I'm Farah Fonseca. I'm England's strongest woman and strongest woman in the world for my weight class, and also a PT and bootcamp instructor.
Oh, it's a tough act to follow. I'm Ben Haldon, formerly known as My Coach Benji. I run an online fitness academy and host the Not So Fit Club podcast.
Hi, I'm Sophie Butler. I am an online content creator and a disability rights advocate.
Hello, I am Amelia Goldsmith, also known as Millie G, and I am an influencer online on social media, promoting lots of weight gain and body self-love content.
Thanks everyone. So let's go on to our first question. Does your physical health impact your mental health? Which one of you would like to take that one? Thanks, Joe.
So yeah, I would say that definitely like my physical health does impact my mental health, and I've got a great example because of why. Like back in the day, I used to be an extremely skinny guy. So to emphasize that, I was 6'2", weighing 50 kilos, so severely underweight. And my mental health was extremely low. Like I felt horrible. I would go out into the boiling hot weather with a hoodie on, tracksuits on, like double layered to make myself look bigger. And yeah, I just felt really bad. But then I started hitting the gym, gained a bit of weight, felt a lot more confident in myself, and that inevitably impacted on a positive mental gain from working out. So not only a physical gain, but also a mental gain.
And would you say that your approach to your holistic health has contributed to your mental health? So I would imagine you've improved your nutrition in order to gain weight healthily and get to a bigger size.
So that's a big thing. Like if there was a day where I wouldn't eat much, that would be bad for my mental health, because I know that physically it's bad for me if I'm not eating much. But then if I eat the calories that I need to get in, I ate healthy, once again, I'd feel amazing and just feel great about myself, yeah.
Great, thanks Joe.
Nice.
You can go back to your seat. So our next question, have you experienced a mental health issue, and are you okay to share that, what it was and what did it feel like? Who would like to take that one? Great, thank you Millie.
Yes, I have experienced a mental health issue. For the past 8 years, I was very underweight, and I wasn't diagnosed, but I had an eating disorder. So yeah, very underweight. I also experienced a lot of like body dysmorphia through that. And literally the past year, actually a year ago today, I embarked on my weight gain journey, and I've gained 19 kilograms, and a whole lot of happiness and confidence and life in me and personality. But yeah, I have dealt with a mental health issue, and it's really unfortunate how common it is in today's society.
So you talk very openly on Instagram and social media about your challenges and your journey to weight gain, and I imagine that must resonate enormously with your quite sizable online following.
Yeah, it's quite shocking how many people do relate to it, and it's really lovely how they find it so helpful, because on my page I have this thing where I post like a daily challenge where people will try and complete in their day. So that could be facing a fear food, or even opening up to their mum about something that they're struggling with. It can be a very small thing, but it can make such a difference. And it really keeps them accountable as well, and it's just really nice for people to find this positive message online, because for me, when I was dealing with my eating disorder, I just had nowhere to go to. I couldn't find any of this information. I didn't know that weight gain was a positive thing. I always saw it as something really negative. But I'm here today to show that it's such a positive, amazing thing.
Thank you. Thanks, Millie. You can go back to your seat. Our third question, what has worked for you when you were working on your mental health? Who's going to take that one? Thank you, Farah.
So some of the things that I've really used to help my mental health is, especially being in strength sports, I've used a sports psychologist, and that has helped so much. I think it's very difficult when you're getting into training and you're getting into becoming more of a competitor. It's very easy to compare yourself to others, and that can negatively impact how your competitions go or how your training can go. So that has been something that I've really utilised over the last couple of years, is reaching out to psychologists and also friends and family, and actually speaking out when you're going through a tough time.
So you mentioned a sports psychologist. Not everyone would have access to one. So what were the takeaways that people watching this could implement in their lives?
So I think the main thing is just to really try to focus on you. It's so easy, with social media and, even when you're looking at other people, just to constantly compare yourself to other people. So as difficult as it might be, just taking that first step to just focus on, right, what can I do to make myself feel 5% better each day, or just to feel that little bit better each day for yourself, rather than thinking about what somebody else is doing. So really just honing in on yourself. What can I do for me each day is the biggest thing, really.
So there's lots of research about comparison culture and how it can be a total menace on our mental health. And there must be days when you find yourself comparing yourself to others more than days when maybe you're feeling much better about yourself. What simple strategies do you put in place on those days so it doesn't get too demoralising and damaging?
Get off my phone. Get off my phone, get outside, be in nature, be with friends, be with the people that make you feel good, whether that's friends, family, whoever that might be. Just get out of that world and come into reality, live your life rather than trying to live other people's.
And just remember all the pictures and
yes, highlights.
Yeah, highlights and angles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Highlights and angles. Thank you.
No
Thanks
worries.
very much. So our next question, who has supported you with your mental health and how did you get that support? Who would like to take that one? Thanks, Ben.
So with bettering my own mental health, I eventually spoke to a therapist. And the reason why I wanted to mention a therapist is I know that everyone doesn't have access to one. But I think there's a stigma that comes around when we're talking about mental health and speaking to therapists, that there must be something wrong with you to then speak to a therapist about something. And I think it's difficult to admit, because that almost puts you in a different category and we label ourselves. But for me, having someone who was a professional listener really just helped me speak and open up to someone who was going to be non-judgmental of things. And I think for me, being a guy and even my dad not being a person who particularly expressed much emotion, I suppressed that a lot as well. So reaching out to someone was a big deal for me, but reaching out to a therapist and kind of breaking down my struggles, my issues and my problems really just helped. And I know, again, it's one of those services which isn't cheap and it is an expense. But I think like we say, speaking about today, we often commit financially to our own health and fitness, and we're very proactive with that. With our mental health, we're very reactive. So for me, that was like a big part of one of the pillars that I need to look after for that part of my life.
And is it something you'll continue with, or was it something that you did for a short space of time?
So at the time, I was doing it for like a short, intense block.
Yeah.
So I was doing therapy once a week, and then as it started to help me more and more, I kind of started doing it once a month, and I was just implementing practices that I'd worked on and strategies and techniques to do so. Again, being more proactive rather than reactive with it. So then that kind of bettered me for the long run as well, and setting those foundations.
So you mentioned being a man, and men are less likely to open up to each other. You mentioned that your dad didn't particularly open up. Is this something that you are doing more now you've had therapy and encouraging your friends to do the same?
Yeah, so I put a post about 2 months ago talking about this as well, and like just talking, and it like kind of pushing people to talk about more, and even DMing me, and even if I can't give the answer to people, because that's something I think we've got to be careful of, is people giving the wrong advice. It may be very good intention, but it doesn't mean advice is correct. But if I can point people in the right direction, to the right guidance, the right therapist, or whatever that may be, just talking and opening up and speaking about that is an avenue to then get people into the right avenues where they need to be themselves.
Mm. And just listening as well. When people say, how are you? Often we just go, yeah, fine, without really answering honestly. And I think we all have a duty to listen to the people around us as well, be it your male friends, your girlfriends, regardless. I think we all need to speak more to each other.
I think even asking that question twice is important as well, because as guys, I think we'll often just go, yeah, we're right.
Yeah.
But then asking someone how you really are is important to open that dialogue up further.
Yeah. Thank you. Go back to your seat. For some people, mental health issues can grow over time. What are the signs for you that your mental health is getting worse? Who would like to take that one? Sophie, thank you.
Hello. Yeah, so I know for me, a sign for me where my mental health had kind of developed over time and it definitely got worse over time was actually this year, very recently. And it was a very interesting time for me because I would say I've always been aware of having mental health issues since I was about 13. So it's always been something that's been in my mind. Sometimes it's just been at the back of my mind. Sometimes it's been right at the forefront. But this year it was really triggered by I experienced a mass amount of trolling on social media. So it was on one singular post, it had to like 400 to 500 hate comments on it. And you get hate comments every day, but dealing with it in that mass amount in such a short space of time, it really just knocked me for six. And I was upset for a few days, and then I just did the, I think, maybe typical thing of like, it's fine, you get back to work, you carry on. But I didn't realise over time like how that my mental health was like developing over the time, and I think I really didn't actually notice it until I came out of my what happened to be an emotional breakdown, but I didn't realise it till after, because I was realising over the last few months I hadn't been taking care of myself in a way of which I would normally love to, and I hadn't been respecting myself and my body in the way of which I think everyone deserves to. So it was like little things. I used to, I mean, I do now, but I used to love getting up at the gym at like 5 a.m. But there were nights where I sometimes wasn't sleeping till 4 a.m. And there'd be days where I felt like I couldn't eat, I couldn't prepare meals, or there'd be days where I'd want to eat everything. Just not being the person that I was. I just really felt like a shell of myself.
Oh, sorry. It's a great answer. I was just looking down again. What strategies did you put in place? You mentioned getting up early, and did you adapt your nutrition? And what strategies do you put in place now and going forward if you feel one of those dark episodes coming on?
Yeah, so I think for me, something that really helped was getting up early for the gym. I know not everyone likes to do it, and that's like totally fine. You don't have to get up at like 5 a.m. to go to the gym to have a good session, but I really love being up early. I feel like it really sets me up for my day, and I don't like it when my alarm goes off. This every day I wake up and I think, oh, I'd much rather be in my toasty bed. But I know that once I'm up and I'm starting my day, I've had like a productive start to my day, but I've also had a start to my day where I'm doing something just for me. So I'm getting that like hour and a half where I can just really dedicate time to being a better version of myself. I think in everyone's everyday lives we give so much to other people, whether that's in work, in relationships, with families, or whatever it is. We give so much of ourselves to everyone else. I like starting my day knowing that this is for you and that only for you. We have to prioritise ourselves, and then we are better at everything else, whether that's being a partner, a manager, a sister. Absolutely. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you so much. So our next question, let's give Sophie a chance to get back. Thank you, Sophie. What do you think could be done to normalise talking about mental health issues? Who would like to take that one?
So I think the main thing that could be done to normalise talking about it is firstly to start talking about it. Obviously events like this is fantastic, actually speaking to real people, interviewing them, talking about it. Mental health, you know, I think it has it's such a big term, and it's kind of like such a big umbrella term, and so much comes underneath that. And I think if everyone does their part to actually start talking about the individual different types of mental health, then that's going to be a great stepping stone to do that.
And speaking openly about it, and maybe
Yeah.
more high-profile people coming forward, which they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being open and honest, and setting an example to people who may be struggling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, of course.
Something as well, I think, you know, you made some fantastic points. Something I think is absolutely fundamental and that we need to get better as a country is not just raising awareness, but also funding the services that are behind it. Because we know there has been so many cutbacks across the NHS, but particularly to mental health services, and it's all well and good, you know, raising awareness, but like we spoke about a lot today, a lot of people don't have access to therapy, and I think there was like one statistic where it's like a 12-week wait for therapy. If you are on the edge, that is, you might not be here to get to your appointment in 12 weeks. And I think that is something that is really, really fundamental, not just with mental health, but with everything that we talk about, to make sure it's not just lip service, and that the government and that people who are funding mental health services really understand that if we want to talk about how important mental health is, we need to be showing how important it is by putting the money into those services.
And it's not just mental health, it's all health in my opinion, because funding has been cut for sports, but we all know if you are active and you move your body, you're much more likely to feel better mentally, as Joe has already said. So it's a valid point, but I think there needs to be more funding holistically into health, and then maybe we wouldn't be in the mental health crisis that we seem to find ourselves in at the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Thank you, Sophie. So the next question is, what do you say to people who think mental health is a myth? They think it's in your head, for want of a better phrase. It's not real, it's not a physical illness.
Joe, I can see you looking at me.
Do you repeat the question?
Yeah, of course, yeah. What do you have to say to people who think mental health is a myth?
So I think that a lot of people are very blunt to assume that, and there's a lot of people like that because a lot of individuals feel don't differentiate between someone just having a bad day and mental health problems. So I know a lot of people who don't go through it, like myself. I've not really suffered that bad through any mental health problems, but I know friends who have suffered very severely, and then other friends of mine have just said, just man up, or something like that, and it's a very common phrase. I went to an all-boys school, just to give context to this scenario. And I'd say that just like more information needs to be put out there about it. And I'm kind of lost for words now, so if someone else wants to take over.
Well, it's mental illness, because we all have mental health. It's mental illness can be a very physical manifestation. You know, we've all described very physical symptoms that we've experienced as a result of mental illness. And I think if anyone's going to say it's a myth, well, that's a complete nonsense, because tell that to the person who can't get out of bed and who can't eat, or is overeating, or is undereating, and you know, so that's a stereotype that we definitely have to smash down every time we hear it. Right, so our next question: how has working on your mental health changed the way you live your life?
I don't want to keep going.
That's a big question. I can only really go off my own experience. So obviously, being underweight, it really, really massively affected my mental health, and I was really, really struggling. And now that I've gained weight, it's completely changed my life. Like, when I was struggling with my mental health, it was like everything was just negative. It impacted my relationships. It impacted myself as just a person. I was very like agitated and very dull inside. I had no personality. I had no humour. I was going through it when I was at uni, so obviously I was with lots of people, and I had a lot of anxiety around people and lots of social anxiety. People make like jokes, and I didn't respond to them. I had no personality whatsoever. So now that I can compare myself now to how I was then, it's like a completely different person. And obviously with that, my whole life has changed. Like, I'm so much more positive, which means that I can actually believe in myself to do things I want to do, which then makes me do those things and achieve the things that I've always wanted to do. So I think I'm just a lot more myself, and I guess with that, your life changes with that. Like, you really do start to gain lots of confidence and make friends and change your life.
It sounds like you got your life back.
Yeah, I have. I never realised I lost it. And like now I've realised how much I missed out on before. And it's crazy for me to think that I did that for 8 years. And through those 8 years, there were such fundamental years in my life, because I was growing up and becoming a person. And I just formed into such a different person, and the person I didn't want to be. But now I can look back and be thankful that I'm here now.
It's very positive, and you need to hold on to the wonderful person that you are now.
Only look forward and up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, for our next call, we are going to Canada. I'm hoping the technology works for us. If you bear with me, if I pop this in my ear, I should be able to hear them. So we have Energy Fitness on the line. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello, how are you today? And you're joining us all the way from Canada.
I am. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good, good. Well, thank you so much for joining our live stream today. I have a question for you, if that's okay. From your experience with your mental health, what's one piece of advice you would give to those listening today?
One thing that I would advise to everyone is to be bold, to be proud, and to be you. Because we are so told to be this or that, or something that they think we should be. And I haven't been my happiest until I've lived my truth as myself. So as a non-binary person within the trans community, I think it's very important to be yourself and to love yourself and to continue to, be there for yourself and to, just continue to live your truth and be the best you can be.
Forgive me, I forgot to ask you to introduce yourself. You just touched upon a few aspects of yourself in your answer, but if you could just give a brief introduction so the people watching know exactly who you are and why you're linked to Myprotein.
Yes, of course. So my name is Em Donkers. I run the Energy Fitness page on Instagram and YouTube. So I provide workouts to people and workout plans, and to help them achieve the body that they've always wanted or that they've always envisioned for themselves. So whatever that may look like I said, growing up, it's very black and white, and I wanted to be that person that could show you could be born as a female and still put on muscle, still have that strength and power, and not feeling like we need to be what society has told us. So I try to advocate for people like me who want to be a bit more muscular and strong, and that want to just live their life and be happy as they are and be accepted in the fitness industry. So I also try to advocate for the queer and trans community, and to promote body positivity and self-love.
And you have a very empowering social media profile and platform, but you must have some of your audience reaching out to you to share some of the mental health struggles they may be going through when they're trying to come to terms with themselves.
Yes, for sure. They definitely have expressed concerns about being accepted at the gym, or even going into change rooms or gender neutral bathrooms if they're not available. Like, what do we do? So definitely those are challenges that we face, and it's great to be there for those people and to discuss topics like top surgery and taking hormone replacement therapy and things like that you don't always have somebody there to talk to. So it's really nice to be that support for everyone, and for myself as well, because I'm going through those same challenges as well.
So being part of that community is helping you as much as it's helping those.
Yes, I have been trying to translate my journey to them so that we can all do it together.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Em. And that brings me to the end of our panel. Thank you to our guests and thank you for sharing so openly today. I found it fascinating and endlessly interesting, and I'm sure that the audience has done too. So this is time for me to draw the event to a close. Thank you from myself and Myprotein. Bye-bye.